Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today we are going to be taking a look at the Sharp by Design 2020 Evo Typhoon. Now, before I go into any detail on this knife, I do want to note that this knife is no longer available. That will also be the case for another knife up for review later this week, but I have a very good reason for why I'm doing this and bringing attention to this knife. This knife was available through a pre-order last year, and there wasn't a lot of extras made. There was a few made, but they sold out quick because these are very highly desired knives. The reason I'm showcasing it is because as a collector, as an enthusiast, whatever you guys are, I consider myself pretty much both. It's really easy to go out and buy a knife. It's fun. We all enjoy it. Add to our collection, add to our rotation. It's great. You get satisfaction from it. But sometimes the hunt for a grail piece or a knife that you really, really want that just really has your attention, sometimes the hunt and then actually finally getting one, sometimes that is just as good as getting it in hand. It's the adventure to get the knife, the excitement, and that's worth noting. So if you don't know about a piece that you may really love that could be your all-time grail knife, you're never going to be able to start that hunt and get it. So that's why I'm showcasing this, so you guys know about it. And then if it's something that catches your eye, Brian, he does at least one or two pre-orders a year, I believe, on different production pieces. They're not that hard to get a pre-order. They're not the 6-minute, 2-minute sellouts like some other brands that I find pretty annoying. So it's a good way Brian does this, and the prices are reasonable considering what you're getting and the benefit you get to pre-ordering it. We'll go over all that in just a second, but I just wanted to let you know my reasoning on why I will be reviewing this. Now, I also want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I'll continue to bring you the content. Now that I got all the little asterisks out of the way, let's go over some overall specifications on this knife. We have an overall length of 8.5 inches, a blade length coming in at 3.75 inches with a blade width right at 1 inch. We have a cutting edge of 3.5 inches, a blade thickness coming in at 0.158 inches with M390 steel, making a very, very nice, very attractive Bowie-style blade with a pretty screaming sharp hollow grind and a handle length of just over 4.5 inches with a handle thickness at 0.53 inches and a handle width right around 1 inch, depending where you're measuring on the handle. Handle material being titanium with some pretty darn nice micarta inlays on each side. There was multiple options on this pre-order. I went with the micarta. After seeing the other ones, they all looked amazing. They had carbon fiber inlay options, and they all looked pretty awesome. For a user, we have a tip-up, right-hand only carry. I don't have a weight on this guy because my scale is dead. I didn't have any real resources to go actually get the specs for this knife, so I had to do it all on my own with my calipers and measuring and whatnot. So the scale is dead, but all I can say for this is, for a big knife, it is light. It feels light in the hand, in the pocket. It's very well balanced, and it's the farthest thing from heavy. So very, very pocket-friendly weight there. As I said before, this is designed by Brian Nadeau of Sharp by Designs. I really love what he has going there. I always love when a maker as talented as him takes his skill and design to the production level, making it available for everyone. And the way he does it is pretty nice, too. If you follow him on Instagram, give him a follow. And if you like this, keep an eye out for his next production run. He's very good at letting you know and when the production dates become, or the pre-order dates become available. As for the price on this guy, this was $325 if you pre-ordered it. Now, the way he does this is he has an X amount of number open for pre-orders, and then he also has some extras. Those extras, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe they were $375. So you save at least $50 by pre-ordering. And guys, the pre-ordering, I know it's not the best. I think it's great for this knife and what Brian is doing with his brand. But yeah, pre-orders aren't the funnest because you got to wait forever to get them, but it just is what it is. And after this whole process, I couldn't be happier I could be a little happier. We'll touch on that in a second, but I'm extremely happy with how this all worked, the outcome, the piece I have in hand. I would do it again. Let's go over some size comparisons now. Take a look at just exactly what we got here in length and width, and very, very well balanced knife in length, width. It's just very, very good in hand. This is a ZT0850. As you can see, obviously a little longer with that bigger handle, and the ZT0452, which also, everybody knows ZT makes some, well, I take it back. These are back from the glory days of ZT. Not exactly what they're spitting out nowadays, but a couple of my favorites from their glory years. And I got two more here, and I'm going to show these individually because each one has a kind of a certain characteristic that reminds me of this Evo. First up is the Spartan Blades Harsey folder. This is the larger original blade, the special edition, the COVID. I can't remember the exact name of it. The something doctor, plague doctor. That's it. COVID edition, really cool. Little reminder from the hellish year that was 2020. And what really kind of sticks out to me with this knife is the ergonomics. I think the ergonomics they may not look it, but they feel very similar in hand, for me anyway, and somewhat similar in length, a little more on the end of the handle here on the Harsey folder, but a very good comparison in my opinion there. Just about the same thickness. This is maybe a hair thicker. And then I think the best overall comparison as far as length, thickness, width, all that stuff, it's got to be the Chris Reeve Umnumzan. And you'll see here when I set it down, yeah, just pretty darn good right there. Similar feel in hand, overall length, and they both have their own unique, incredible actions. So, with that being said, let's talk about this blade right here, which is just a pretty darn beautiful, stunning Bowie design blade with, I think, a cutout and fuller that really make it. If this didn't have a cutout and fuller, it would still look good, but I love the way the lines of the fuller come basically straight up to the tip of the blade. I like how the lines, it goes from being a curve and nice belly up to just a straight line from the cutout, and the fuller going right up there. Just very, very nice. Nice little swedge up here at the top to give it a little more lines, and just a very attractive design. Very, very good blade. And another thing that this blade does not have, that you all know I'm going to really love, is no branding whatsoever. Just a very nice, sterile blade. The only marking on the entire piece of M390 that makes the blade is this Brian Nadeau maker's mark right here, which I'm totally fine with. I love the way he puts it there and doesn't put it up. The grind is a little unique here. It's a full grind going all the way up the blade. It's a hollow grind here, but you see the grind marking, so there was really no place for him to put this outside of like maybe up here in the corner on the grind lines. I personally never really liked that, so I love what he did there, putting his maker's mark on the flipper tab and keeping the blade nice and sterile. Just a very, very attractive, pretty stunning design. I really, really like this blade. As I said, the hollow grind on this blade is also very nice. This is a Riot produced knife, which is usually a very good thing, but there was an issue with this that I will mention here in a bit. But Riot does do a very good job for the most part on grinding blades. This is no exception. The hollow grind on this comes down to a screaming edge of 13 thousandths, a nice consistent grind all the way along, and it's shaving sharp. That is for sure. If I haven't said this yet, it has very nice jimping on the spine. That nice jimping that kind of bites your thumb enough but doesn't tear it up. It's starting to become more and more common, which is a great thing because that used to be a struggle all over the knife world to get good jimping back in the day. Over the past couple years, they've gotten a lot better at consistently putting jimping on a blade. And that is pretty much the blade. It's basically just it's a beautiful blade that means business, is the best way to put it, and it sure does. Now, the handle and ergos on this guy, this is where I ran into a quality issue that you can't actually see on the outside of the knife. But as for the overall ergos and just how it feels in hand, it feels absolutely fantastic. As you can tell by looking at it, there's really no points on this knife anywhere. Very smooth. The only anything close to a point is maybe up here at the pocket clip, but I don't feel that one bit. It feels fantastic in hand. Perfect handle length. Just really, really good. Very good. Reminds me of kind of a very high-class ZT or something. It kind of has that look, but it's also, of course, a very unique Brian Nadeau design. And there goes my refrigerator. 1 second. We're going to turn that off. I hate that refrigerator. Okay, now we're back. But I really like the pivot hardware on this knife as well. The six shooter theme is always fun, and it just adds a nice little touch without being too loud or annoying. I personally feel like the pivot on a knife can be a very good thing or a very bad thing. If there's too much attention to it, it can really take away from the knife. This one does not have that. It's just a nice little complement. I think it works very well with the overall design. One improvement I would like to see on this knife, though, is on the clip. The clip works great. It retains the knife very well in your pocket, and I think it has very nice lines. But that screw down there, really wish that was a hidden screw. For the price of the knife, I think a hidden screw would be a nice feature, and it would look so great because there really is. It's a big screw, too. So, I mean, you really see it on the knife. I don't think it looks horrible. Definitely not something that, makes me wish I didn't buy the knife by any means, but I think it would be just pretty amazing with the hidden screw there. That would look very, very nice. But that's really the only improvement I can really think of making to this knife. Now, what I did notice after some pretty deep inspection on this knife, when you get a knife of this cost and quality, you always look over it real hard. And on the inside here, right where you see the line that was milled for the lock bar, Riot left some metal shavings in there that were still stuck to the end. So I had to resort to my very useful and very nice Victorinox Tinker. And with my $22 Tinker, I used the tweezers and the plastic toothpick, to scrape out the metal shavings that were left in here. Now, I threw them away. If you guys, a lot of you probably follow me on Instagram. If you're not, I would appreciate it if you did. Go to my Instagram and look it up. In one of my more recent posts, I have a picture of the metal shavings and the knife there. But there was metal shavings on the inside here, right on the where the milling was for the frame lock. Now, that's not cool for a couple reasons. One, it's a $325 knife. That should never, ever, ever happen on a $325 knife. Now, I don't necessarily, like I said in my post, this isn't a dig on Sharp by Design. Brian inspected these things. He was on a real tight schedule. They shipped the knives to him late. I'm sure he would have wanted more time to thoroughly look over everyone, but I'm sure he did do a good job of that. I don't hold this on Brian. I hold this on Riot. Riot claims to be the best. Everyone says they're the best in Chinese manufacturing. I personally don't agree at this point. I think that title goes to We Knives. But to have metal shavings just left from remnants of CNC work in here, just not acceptable. Not acceptable whatsoever, especially from a company where Riot is. I'm just going to say what I said on my Instagram post. I know Riot still makes good quality. I know they're still one of the best, but I really hope they're not getting too comfortable, because it's a quick fall from the top when you start making quality issues like that. That should just never happen with them. That's why you have quality control in place to check that. So I really hope that doesn't become the norm for them. I can honestly say at this point, I have had more Riots with QC issues than I have had Civivis, and I've had a lot more Civivis in these hands right here than I have had Riot builds. So that does say a lot. I think they need to address that and take a closer look, especially if they're going to start charging the premium for production that they are. Now that I'm past that, I'm going to get back to this knife here, but I had to throw that in there because I was pretty upset with that, and I also heard of other other people that bought these knives that had quality issues that, again, I don't necessarily put on Brian. For what he's paying for these knives, Riot should be sending him some pretty good examples of top quality. And sounds like there was a few that Riot let slip through, so they need to get on that and pay better attention. Now, back to the knife and handle and ergos of this thing. One other quick thing I want to address is the detent system on this knife, which is just, it's different and it's awesome. It's one of the reasons I've always wanted to get a Brian Nato design. If you look in here, this piece of, I'm assuming it's some type of hardened metal right here. This is all one piece, and in there, if you look hard enough, you can see it right there. That's the detent system. So he does not use a detent ball on this knife. It's kind of like just a slab of metal in there, all one piece milled out and screwed on here to the best of what I can see. And that makes for a very, very, very unique and amazing action that we will get to here in just a second in the action category. But it's just really cool. I love the way he did it. I love the way he extended it out to make very easy access to close the knife. And it's just very, very smooth, very slick. It kind of reminds me of a brake pad or a brake system on a wheel. You know, if you look on the inside of a wheel, you see the brake pad and the brakes in there. That's kind of what it reminds me of. That really has nothing to do in relation to the performance or how it works. I'm just strictly going off looks right now, but I thought that was kind of funny. Realized that and made myself laugh a little, but very brief laugh. Now on to the action. The action's fantastic. It really is. It is absolutely on point. It's very unique. It's not a thwack. You know, a lot of reviewers will say the thwack. This is more like a crack, like a whip and a crack. It's just super smooth. Once you break the detent and you feel the blade coming out, it's glassy. It's just very glassy. And I really appreciate that because there's not many knives that have an action or feel like this. There's actually, outside of the Sharp by Design, other Sharp by Design models with this detent system, I don't think there is any because it's very unique. But just flies right out with authority and comes down. A few shakes, it goes down. I don't really care if a knife is super, super, super drop shutty. As long as it can do this, that's good enough for me. If it's drop shutty, it's still cool. But yeah, this is perfect the way it is. Very, very, very nice action. Overall thoughts on this, even with the quality control issue, I'm very happy with this knife. I'm just really glad I was able to fix this quality control issue myself, because if I would have had to send this back to Brian for him to remove the scrape shavings, which I really didn't want to do, I'd have been pretty pissed off if I had to do that. I may have a very different tune in regards to this overall experience, but since I was able to take care of it, I'm good. I'm not going to complain. I'm definitely not going to complain about Sharp by Design, but yeah, I got a little bone to pick with Riot. They've got to get back on my good side after the past issues I've had with them. I'm sure they're totally capable of it, but like I said before, when I've had fewer Civivis with quality issues than Riot builds, there's something going on there, because you guys know how many Civivis I've had on this channel. So that needs to be addressed and looked at from Riot, because there's always room for improvement, and that's never a bad thing. You can be the best at what you do, and you can always still get better. So I hope they take a good, long, hard look at that. But as for this knife, I do love it. I absolutely love it. It's easily, quickly became one of my favorites. And with that being said, this knife right here is giving this knife right here some competition for the title of Wayne's Adventure Knife. And that might be just a stupid thing to say, but for some reason, this also screams adventure to me. So I'm going to leave this up to you guys. What do you see as the true adventure knife? Is it the 0640, or is it the Evo Typhoon? I'd really be okay with either one. I'm still kind of leaning towards the 0640 just because it was kind of my first crush in that regard. But what do you guys think? If it's not either one of these, which one? What do you think is the best adventure knife? And I don't even know why I use that term adventure knife. It's just the knife that I would take with me on an adventure. Just a little thing I made up on my own, but either one of these knives, it's definitely, the Evo is giving it some competition. Love both of these knives, but especially this one because it's a little newer. It's just it's finding a lot of pocket time. Let me know what you guys think. If you ever had a Sharp by Design model, how much do you like it? And let me know. Let me know in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.